This is Module 1, Topic A, Lesson 4. Our objective is to use exponents to denote powers of 10 with application to metric conversions. So the first thing we're going to do is rename or convert large units as smaller units using multiplication equations with exponents. So let's say that this line is 2 meters long, and we want to know how many centimeters equals 2 meters. Well, the answer is 200 centimeters. But how do we get that? What is a multiplication equation multiplying by 2 to get 200? Well, it would be 2 times 100 equals 200. How can we now rename that 100 with an exponent? Well, 100 is 10 to the second power. So it would be 2 times 10 to the second power equals 200. And we're going to document all of this on a chart. So here we have 2 meters, and it is equivalent to 200 centimeters. So let's try another one where we figure out how many centimeters are equal to 1.37 or 1/3700ths meter. Well, let's think this through. It's 1 meter and 37 centimeters. It's more than 1 meter and less than 2 meters. 37 hundredths of a meter is 37 centimeters. And 1 meter is 100 centimeters, so it's 100 centimeters plus 37 centimeters equals 137 centimeters. So let's put that in the chart and then look at multiplication equations that we can do to show that. So there's our chart. We have 1.37 or 1/3700ths meters equals 137 centimeters. Now, how can we write that in a multiplication equation? Well, 1/3700ths times 100 equals 137. But now how can we write it renaming that 100 using exponents? Well, it would become 1/3700ths times 10 to the second power equals 137. So the rule here is to rename meters as centimeters, you multiply by 100 or 10 to the second power. So now, knowing that rule, how many centimeters are equal to 2 6/10 meters? This is a little tricky because it's 6/10 of a meter. We need to work in hundredths. So it's 2 meters, the 2, and 60 centimeters, because we could put a 0 behind there. We know it's more than 2 meters and less than 3 meters. 6/10 of a meter is 60 centimeters. So 2 meters is 200 centimeters. 6/10 of a meter is 60 centimeters, so it's 200 centimeters plus 60 centimeters equals 260 centimeters. And let's add that to our chart. We have 2 6/10 of a meter equals 260 centimeters. How could we write that in a multiplication equation? Well, we could do 2 6/10 times 100 equals 260. How could we write it with an exponent? Well, 100 is 10 to the second power, so it would become 2 6/10 times 10 to the second power equals 260. So now that we've done that, how can we convert meters to millimeters? Well, to get to centimeters, we multiply by 100 or 10 to the second power. To get to millimeters, we would multiply the number of meters by 1,000 or by 10 to the third power. So here's our chart again, and let's see how we got that. We have that 2 meters is the same as 2,000 millimeters, and we would multiply the 2 times 10 to the third power equals 2,000. Remember, 10 to the third power is equal to 1,000. We have that 1 37/100ths meter is equal to 1,370 millimeters, and we would get that by doing 1 37/100ths times 10 to the third power equals 1,370. And finally, we have 2 6/10ths is equal to 2 meters is equal to 2,600 millimeters, and we would get that by doing 2 6/10ths times 10 to the third power equals 2,600. So now we're going to go backwards and rename millimeters and centimeters as meters using division equations with exponents. So now, instead of saying how many centimeters, we're saying how many meters equal 200 centimeters. We're going backwards. We're starting with the bigger number, the centimeters, and we're going to a smaller number, the meters. It's actually going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit here. Centimeters is smaller than meters. So, how many meters equal 200 centimeters? It's 2 meters. We would get that in a division sentence by doing 200 divided by 100 equals 2. How can we rewrite that with exponents? Well, it would be 200 divided by 10 to the second power equals 2. And we're going to document that on our chart where we have 200 centimeters is the same as 2 meters. So keep on going on. How many meters are equal to 137 centimeters? And again, we're going from the smaller unit centimeters to the bigger unit meters. And to do that, we would divide by 100. So we would do 137 divided by 100 equals 1 37/100ths. Rewriting that with an exponent, we would do 137 divided by 10 to the second power equals 1 37/100ths. So let's add that to our chart. 137 centimeters equals 1 37/100ths of a meter. So our rule here is to rename centimeters to meters, we divide by 100 or 10 to the second power. So let's look at one more. How many meters are equal to 260 centimeters? Well, again, to go from the smaller unit centimeters to the bigger unit meters, we divide by 100, which would be 260 divided by 100 equals 2 6/10ths. And rewriting that with an exponent, we would get 260 divided by 10 to the second power equals 2 6/10ths. And we're going to add that to our chart. 260 centimeters equals 2 6/10ths meters. So what about doing millimeters to meters? Well, you divide the number of millimeters by 1,000 or by 10 to the third power. So we're going to complete the chart. We have 2,000 divided by 10 to the third equals 2. 1,370 divided by 10 to the third equals 1.1 37/100ths of a meter. And 2,600 divided by 10 to the third equals 2 6/10ths. And if you look at our chart, we have 2,000 millimeters is equal to 2 meters. 1,370 millimeters is equal to 1 37/100ths of a meter. And 2,600 millimeters is equal to 2 6/10ths of a meter. Be prepared to continue practicing this in class.